similar plight for those in southern Mongolia, and we're very happy to be able to stand in solidarity with the people of southern Mongolia today and every day.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. Sambeno, Dashi Delek. It is great to be here today to stand in solidarity with our Tibetans, Uyghurs, Taiwanese and Chinese friends to commemorate the 60th anniversary of the Tibetan National Uprising, to show our strong protest to the Chinese government and the Chinese regimes in our three occupied nations, Tibet, East Turkistan, and Southern Mongolia. Here I would like to stress that I use the terminology nation and occupied nations.
Yes.
I have been refusing to use the terminology called ethnic group or ethnic minorities.
Yes. Great.
Which
Yes.
is aimed to eradicate, wipe out our national identity, to wipe out our national and historical memory of our independent nation. As you gathered here today to mark the 60th anniversary of Tibetan Uprising, let us look back to the history of Chinese colonial occupations in our three nations. 70 years ago in 1949, the Chinese Communist Party took over China proper. Soon after that, our three nations were reduced to the so-called nationality minority autonomous regions, and our people were reduced to the so-called national minorities, which further downgraded to the ethnic minorities later on. 60 years ago, in 1969, the Chinese government carried out a large-scale genocide campaign in southern Mongolia. Hundreds of thousands of Mongolians were killed and nearly 500,000 Mongolians persecuted. 60 years ago, people of Tibet rose up against the Chinese government and Chinese colonial occupation and demanded their freedom and human rights. The Chinese government carried out a brutal crackdown, and His Holiness and hundreds of thousands of Tibetans forced to leave their homeland to go into exile. Today, this extreme brutality is still continuing. Crime against humanity is continued to be committed by the Chinese government on a daily basis in front of the eyes of the international community and the democratic world. Millions of Uyghurs are locked up in concentration camp for just being who they are. Entire population of Mongolian and Tibetan herders are forced to leave their land to give up their way of life. Despite these brutal occupation and bloody repression, we Tibetans, Uyghurs, and Mongolians have never given up our hope and optimism. We believe that if a nation and people make up their mind to free themselves, there's no force on earth to stop them, as Desmond Tutu put it. We believe one day Tibet, Southern Mongolia, and East Turkistan will be free, and Hong Kong and Taiwan
And
will
Macau.
be free from Chinese interference to determine their own political future. Thank you.
Thank you! Free Southern Mongolia!
Free Tibet now!
Free Tibet now!
Free Tibet now!
Free Tibet now!
Free East Turkistan now!
Free East Turkistan now!
Free East Turkistan now!
East Turkistan now.
Free Southern Mongolia now!
Free Southern Mongolia now.
Free Southern Mongolia now!
Southern Mongolia now. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Enghebatu, for lovely words.